Men of faith, the Itzais reached Chichen. From the jewel of the sun's bosom came the cast of good men. The soft earth around the edge of the well confirms they pass by here, conquering one brilliant day. It's said created them at night. The plumed serpent, it's said they're dead, forgotten. But it's not true, because they never left. They're here.
Chichen Itza, symbolic city of ancient Mexico, legacy of the amazing civilization of the Mayas, and now one of the marvels of the world. Located on the northern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, Chichen Itza was built around the 5th century after the Christian era. Left abandoned for a significant period, it was later rebuilt by the Itzais, a Maya group that turned Chichen into the most important city in Mesoamerica at the time. Its buildings, reliefs, and murals exemplify the most advanced knowledge of ancient Mexico. But Chichen Itza is not just a collection of archaeological monuments, but a living city, one that functions even today with astounding astronomic precision. Researchers have proven that the Mayas possessed notable scientific and architectural skills that enabled them to become one of the leading civilizations of early America. How did they achieve these advances? This was possible because the Mayas formed part of a civilization process that evolved over thousands of years, and the accumulated experience of generations. The Olmecas were the first great Mesoamerican civilization, appearing over 3,000 years ago. They created the basic elements of culture, such as writing, mathematics, monumental architecture, astronomy, and the cult of the plumed serpent. It is quite possible that the creation of the calendar by the Olmecas was that culture's singular most influential gift to Mesoamerica, being one of the most exact time measurement tools invented by mankind. Approximately 2,300 years ago, the Mayas inherited that calendar, which they incorporated with great artistic flair into their stelae, sculptures, pottery, and codices. Unfortunately, nearly all Maya codices were destroyed during the Spanish invasion. Only 3 survived, among which is the Dresden Codex, considered one of humanity's greatest scientific achievements for its contributions on the cycles of Venus and other planets. While today's researchers use telescopes and parabolic antennas to decipher the cosmos, the Mayas used buildings as astronomic observatories. For them, Pyramids and palaces were more than utilitarian or religious constructions. They were also tools, taking advantage of their size, angles, windows, and other elements. They could calculate the movement of the stars. On the same token, these buildings also represented a great testimonial for posterity as to the degree of civilization achieved by this people. The best known of these structures is the Pyramid of Kukulkan. Here we find the true embodiment of the Maya's knowledge of calendars. The pyramid has 91 steps for each cardinal point, plus a day and a fourth forming part of the upper platform. 9 bodies on each side are associated with the 18 months and 20 days that make up the Maya year, and 26 ornaments on each side of the balustrades complete the sacred cycle of 52 years. But the most incredible thing about this pyramid is that during the spring and fall equinoxes, a serpent created from triangles of light and shadow descends the balustrade. This phenomenon not only appears at sunset, but also at sunrise in the rear of the pyramid. Although, given the deterioration of the structure, it's not as easy to see. This occurrence is owed to the incredible mathematical precision with which the Maya architects oriented the pyramid in relation to the movement of the earth, and is a further example of the use of natural laws on the part of Mesoamericans to represent their beliefs and cosmology. The Pyramid of Kukulkan received its name because this word in Maya refers to what is known as the plumed serpent, a god that the indigenous Nahuatls called Quetzalcoatl. But what does this symbolism represent? The serpent is the ancient emblem of the physical body and material realm of the universe. Meanwhile, the Quetzal, a beautiful winged creature, symbolizes the sublime, the soul, and the conscience. Both symbols also represent positive and negative, day and night, hot and cold. The Mesoamericans use the plumed serpent in their philosophical concept to describe the integration of opposites, the transcendence of materialism, and pursuit of the divine. They gave it so much importance that it became the central unifier of that cosmovision. The constructions in honor of the plumed serpent often had a circular shape, which was associated with the wind. This type of construction also appears in other Maya cities like Mayapan. The largest of these circular temples is quite possibly found in Chichen Itza. Known today as the Observatory, a number of its windows are aligned with the movements of Venus. What's the relation between this planet and the plumed serpent? In universal history, we find various examples of how different cultures dedicated their buildings to the sun or some other significant astral body. The Mesoamericans also chose Venus because it appears on the horizon as the morning star, and at other times as the evening star. The myth further confirms that Quetzalcoatl died cyclically and went to the underworld, to be later reborn and rise as the brightest morning star. Another myth that carries us to the cosmic realm was the ball game. where the players represented the force of nature, and the ball symbolized the movement of the stars. Just like the serpent's descent down the pyramid heralded the equinoxes, the movement of the ball down the court represented the sun, and its bouncing side to side the solstices. The largest ball court built in Mesoamerica is found right here in Chichen Itza. It's an enormous structure oriented by the basic dates of the Mesoamerican calendar. It's amazing to see how the same alignment is found in other great cities of the Anahuac. Built from the first moments of the Olmecas to the fall of the Mexicas throughout Mesoamerica. This clearly demonstrates the ideological unity that existed in Mesoamerica through history. In one of the murals depicting the ball game is a stone relief with a group of ball players in a ritual scene. This has been interpreted in many ways. Some researchers believe that Mesoamericans had the custom of decapitating the players of the winning team as a sacrifice to the gods. However, others believe this was mere symbolism. According to the Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Mayas, the scene where the sacrifice appears doesn't refer to the literal death of a person, but rather to a creation scene. Because of that, the neck of the decapitated player isn't disgorging blood, but 6 serpents transforming into a flowering tree. Another of the great buildings in Chichen Itza is the Temple of the Warriors, on whose columns were sculpted the rites of initiation of the elite warriors who had acquired higher levels of enlightenment. Since war was the primary activity among the Mayas, it had subtleties that teach us of the pre-Columbian philosophy in which existed 2 types of languages. On the one hand, war served military purposes. But, on the other, it was directed towards supporting the development of all human values through work and dealing with one's own weaknesses. The tutorial god of this temple was Kukulkan. Its images were sculpted in the 2 columns flanking the entrance to the sanctuary. Next to them is found the enigmatic sculpture known as Chakmol. Much has been said about its meaning and reclining position. On its chest appears the figure of a stylized butterfly, which some researchers say is the sun. On its forehead is a band of stars. Located in the temple's portico, its face is turned toward the phenomenon of lights and shadows, serving as witness to the serpent's descent. The Chakmol is yet another of the undisputable symbols of Mesoamerica. As we see, Chichen Itza is more than a city. It's a compendium of knowledge acquired by ancient Mexicans. The depository of this wisdom became known as the Toltecas.
Show us who you are. You, twice mother, twice father, plumed serpent. Oh, you, creator of heaven and earth, master, you will be called the Tolteca because of your work and creation.
Toltecanism is Mexico's cultural and spiritual legacy to the world, spread by wise ones who reached the grade of plumed serpents. One of these personages, called Seacatl prophesied before his death that he would return sometime in the future. Later, a Maya priest called Chilambalam explained that this return would occur in the land of the Mayas and mark the birth of a new era.
When Katun for Ahau reigns over Chichen Itza, the Quetzal will perch in the golden tree. Kukulkan will revisit the Itzais. It is its fourth return, the fourth time it returns to its own.
At this moment, when the Maya calendar is about to complete a great cycle, Chichen Itza is reborn in our memories as one of the new marvels of the world.